check my bank account or the bank that I use to transfer more money into my account. I mean, I think some things must be used for good, right? So I'm suffering. But I think before I start with the presentations, and I'm not sure if it's going to come up, I want to acknowledge, good. I want to acknowledge the women in cyber. I mean, we were celebrating International Cyber Day the other day, so let's give ourselves a round of applause. So my name is Celia. I work for MTN. MTN is the largest mobile network operator across 19 African countries. I work for South Africa, which is one of the big opcos within MTN. So our purpose is ensuring that we enable the benefits of modern connected life to everyone. I always argue with the organization, and I always say, why don't we just change it and say, to enable the benefits of secure, modern, connected life? Because security, if you really think about it, it's now become human rights, right? That's why we've got all these legislations happening. So maybe let me move. So that's the topic of the day. But because we're celebrating women, it's Women's Month, I was thinking, why don't they give me a topic about balancing the risk of women not in cybersecurity? Have you ever really thought about it, that the more women you have, the more diverse you are, the more innovative you are as an organization? So it's something that we should take note. Maybe in our next topic, we should include how do we balance the equation between men and women in cybersecurity. So that's something for next year. But let's talk about cyber, and we've heard a lot from other doctors. Yesterday we were talking about the risks. I mean, now we just went through a live demo of how we can be hacked. And there's this saying that it takes 20 years to build an organization's reputation, but it only takes literally 5 minutes to ruin it because of a cyber incident. And what do we do? I mean, in that instance, we've worked so hard. MTN is so big. We've just celebrated our 30 years as an organization. And then we experience a cyber hack that is literally damaging to our organization, moving from one of the most profitable organizations to nothing because we've lost the trust. So innovation, security, we can't stop our organizations from innovating. I think that's why we have jobs, right? Because in the last few years, they had to innovate for us to make profits as part of, obviously, our goals as an organization. We have to embrace innovation and security, and they're not mutual exclusive. We have to strive in both. Literally, if someone asks me today, Celia, are you a good CISO? 1 minute, I think I am. Tomorrow something happens. I literally have to relearn what I know and then learn something else. I mean, that's been my world since. And then we need to work together to build a foundation of innovation within our organization. And in that alone, it's about the business recognizing that cyber is not a responsibility of a CISO, but it's the responsibility of the business as a whole. If you really, really think about it, we have limited resources. That shows that we are limited in terms of skills gap. So we have to utilize business to actually push the mandates of security. Not only the IT team, to be honest with you. I fight a lot with the IT team. I just think they're more managed. But business itself, we spoke about marketing. How do we enable marketing to still do and recognize that security is important and then navigate the mandate of the organization? So culture in an organization is quite important, and that's one thing that we got right in MTN. I sit there, whether we're having an organizational strategy, and you hear the CIO, CEO talking about cyber. It's seamless. I don't have to sit in front and convince people that cyber is important. I want him to say it, because obviously everything starts from the top. So there's a lot of risks, and let's talk about risk. Innovation itself brings risks into our organizations. I mean, we've spoken about some of the risks we've been exposed. I didn't even want to give him my email address. And I know I've won so many thousands of money, people just writing to me. I guess I'm exposed, right? As a CISO, you also get exposed personally. But without us embracing risk and always talking about how people can do something, we also become very stagnant as an organization. So that's one risk. We hinder the organization to be innovative. And whether you say no or yes, the business will always find a way to to do what they need to do to make a profit. So we need to work together. And there's limited person. I use the word purse because I'm a lady. We have limited purse. I tell you, you go to the CFO, you need to literally take off your teeth because you're selling intangible assets. You're not selling water where she can see that this is value. You're actually telling her of what she cannot see. So how do you then navigate with limited resources within the organization? And that's one of the risks we have, trade-offs. I mean, we're talking about risk-based approach. Where are you willing to compromise for you to get something? And this is where cyber gets in to say, how much risks are you exposed to? Your appetite as an organization, are we willing to take that risk? Skills gap, I think I've spoken about it. But one thing that I've actually noticed is the fatigue within our own teams. Because there is so much happening and it evolves all the time. Our current resources are fatigued with all this change that is happening around us. So, I mean, we can talk about problems the whole day. So we're under threat, right? And I learned this system, they call it the triple FS. It's called, if you're faced with a threat, what do you do? So years ago, people used to say you can flight, run away, fight, literally fight, and that's what we do sometimes in our organization. We fight to be heard, or you can freeze, just pretend it is as if it's not happening, you're not exposed, let's carry on, and that's how we should react. The same applies to cyber. You either flight, I mean, you can be a teacher if you want to in future, or you fight, or you freeze. And fear is a motivator by its nature. And it's normal because we could never know history and improve the future if we have never been fearful. Cyber challenges, innovation, it's fearful in its nature. Hence I said it's so dynamic. It's not stagnant, But I also found that, there is no 3 response to fear. There's actually 4. And the 4th one means face. We are here, we are facing the challenges we have. We are here to engage, we're collaborating. And when you face these challenges, you actually get better every day as you practice and you face these challenges. I mean, I was so intrigued by the, border. It's my first time in Kenya. As I came in, I saw border. I was fearful. I was like, what is going on? But 2 days, I'm literally thinking this system works. It works. It has a lot of risks, but it works. So actually, you are facing the challenges of transportation, moving around as a country. I'm just hoping South Africa can adapt to that, so I can save petrol. So how do we face? How do we navigate? Because I could tell you, implement this, put this in place, but it's not the what, it's the how. As security officers, we are advisors. We are guardian angels. He called us guardian angels, and I thought about it as I was sitting there to say, wow, I've never thought about it. Why do we need guardian angels? Because we always have problems, right? Then you need an angel to actually assist you to get out of that situation. So we are guardian angels. This one came up in one of the trends as Dr. Bright was presenting, security by design. I call it shift left. Implement security from the beginning. And when you say that, it also has to align to the culture of the organization. So if you shift right, literally they call us after and they want us to fix all the garbage that has been done in production. But if you shift left, you are part of the implementation from literally initiating the project with the innovators. And when I say innovators, obviously our innovators is business. We are here for business. We are not in isolation. So it gives you long-term benefits, and it literally eliminates future problems because the basics will be there, implemented from scratch. I mean, how many of us are still managing legacy systems, which are taking actually 70% of our time, unlike new systems where we implemented security by design, and we're literally having better sleepless nights on that 30%. So as I said, it's the how. The risk assessment, I think we've just spoken about it. You say you need to continuously assess your organization. And I know organizations sometimes do it once a year to say, what's my risk posture? What's my tolerance? Am I willing to do this? Am I willing to do that? Because we are so dynamic. Innovation happens on a monthly basis. With MTN, literally on a daily basis, there's something dropping, new products in the organization. I think it must be regular. And I don't know if we have the time, but we can actually leverage from regular risk assessments. And this actually builds resilience within the organization, where obviously we can either do simulation on how to respond if we're not ready to defend effectively or 100% so. So it just gives us a better footing of understanding our problems in future. Be adaptive. You know, one thing I've learned is that I needed to be adaptive to the organization. I'm not CyberSecurity, then MTN. I'm part of MTN. And MTN itself is on a mission to make a profit, enhance products, and satisfy their customers. So how I used to measure success before and how I measure success now, I'm adaptive to how the organization wants to implement security. And let's make an example. How many of us have actually wanted to meet the MTTR on vulnerability management? Like literally, every day there's vulnerabilities. Every day you're saying you need to remediate within 14 days. People remediate within 30 days. So how much can we do? We need to be adaptive to this new innovation, new risks, API security. MTN is an API organization. These API securities, at some point, I didn't even understand what they were. I literally had to go to conferences. I literally had to engage with professionals and be adaptive to where we are as an organization. Collaboration. When I say collaboration, I actually get goosebumps. Like I said, we've got limited resources, limited skills. And when we collaborate internally with our stakeholders for alignment, understanding of what we're trying to achieve, not blocking them on what they want to achieve, enabling them to achieve what they want to achieve within the remedies of security. And that's quite important. To say to someone, you can't do that. You are not here in isolation. You are here to serve business. So you need to collaborate. If someone says, you want to get to a point where someone or department or marketing has done something wrong, you're the first one they call, not the first one they run away from and pretend you're not going to find them. So collaboration is important. Externally, also collaboration. We're collaborating now, engaging with industry experts on, listen, I'm facing this issue or this security risk. How can we navigate? I've learned so much in the last 2 days. Things I've never thought about. It literally just wowed my mind. And this is how we collaborate. After tea, we're collaborating on how to improve. We're engaging with vendors. Amazing technologies out there. If you want to go to the stalls, it's also there. So we need to collaborate. I've got some of my vendors actually here providing me a service, and I was glad to see them the other day to say, oh, okay, at least they are collaborating, not selling me stagnant technology. They want to know what's going on in other countries and what they're doing. So we're still navigating the how. Cyber awareness and education. And I always say, cyber awareness and education. Think about it. If you go to the CFO and you talk about patch management, you've lost her. She's literally lost. But if you go to the CFO and you talk about how much exposure she would actually lose on her finances in percentage, to say, listen, we're exposing this database holds this data. If this data was to be exposed, it would cost us this much. Then I need to do this. So it's a language she understands. If you talk to HR, and I mean, they've got a lot of personal data, our personal data, and you say something like privacy, and you don't need to do that, you need to do this. I don't think they're getting it. But if you talk about the data they hold and what effect it would have to the organization, reputational-wise, you could only imagine. She gets to understand because it's within her rhythm of understanding. So I find that sometimes we actually concentrate on our users internally, hoping that they understand what to do. And they are our strongest links. I don't like to say humans are our weakest link. Actually, they are our strongest links. If you really think about it, half of the problems would be everywhere if we don't train our users to be more effective. So we need to differentiate stakeholders, have different conversations with stakeholders so that they understand our mandate within the rhythm of business, not the rhythms of IT. My biggest stakeholder is not the CIO. Literally, the CIO is the least of my problem because I know that 90% of what I'm going through, he understands. I have a security steering committee. I do not chair the security steering committee. I'm actually there to get direction, and I go and implement, I report back. I use business to my advantage to move the mandate of MTN and innovate with them. So that's how, obviously in our customers, by the way, on cyber awareness, our customers needs to be continuously educated on the products we deploy, what they can benefit from, and what risks that they have to go through. I mean, once in a while you see in LinkedIn, people say, please enable multi-factor. I think it should be part of every month. Is there something that you're actually communicating to your customers to understand the risks that we are actually exposed to as we innovate their products? And I think I've spoken about speak business language. Can we just speak? We are there for business. I went to a meeting and I started saying, so MFA, and someone picked up, it was legal, one of the executives from legal. By the way, Celia, what's MFA? Like, to me, it's so normal, multi-factor, but it's called MFA. But this guy was asking me, what's MFA? And I had to literally reset and actually realize that, am I speaking business language to the right stakeholders? So that assists a lot. It better influences, it translates what you're trying to do into the rhythms of business where we're operating. Get sponsors, advocates, to assist you as a CISO to enable the mandate. And I think I've spoken about it to say, if someone was to ask me today, who do you report to? It depends. I normally say the CFO. I've actually used the CFO and legal to become my sponsors. I could be absent in a security discussion. I know that my legal is able to translate what I'm trying to achieve into that meeting. So I think sometimes being at the forefront, we are pushing security mandate. We need to push business mandate that enables them to innovate. Besides, the advocates themselves enables you on resources that you require. They enable you for relationships that you have to build. So finding that business sponsor to be the front line besides you for cybersecurity is actually quite key, and it works. Obviously, we need to leverage off. We can't innovate without innovating security itself. AI, machine learning, I mean, we can go on with emerging technologies that we're currently exposed to. We need to leverage off emerging technologies, but still having the basics intact. And we were asking about, do we follow the ISO? Is it still relevant? It has guidelines that we can implement. At least it's a book that you can implement, especially for smaller companies where they need to navigate. So implementing the basics actually helps any organization. And then thereafter, you leverage off emerging technologies, because as we innovate, we are actually enabling AI. So why don't you combat that with AI security as well for that prompt response? Security visibility and gaining insight. There's one thing that I think what makes me not sleep at night is not understanding or not having the right visibility of the organization. I could be here today conferencing with you guys, discussing with you guys, and something is happening in the organization unknowingly. Having the right visibility to environment reports, insights of what's happening. It assists in monitoring, it assists in decision making, and it assists you to have the right discussions. As you do the regular security assessments, you are able to have insight to prove on what you require from business as they innovate. And then, last but not least, and I'm about to say thank you, you either innovate securely or you die. We've seen organizations where they thought that innovating without security, and it has cost them a lot. I know of organizations that said, why should I implement privacy? Implementing privacy would cost me 100 million rands in South African currencies, but the regulator is going to fine me 10 million rands. I might as well not implement the POPI, because why should I spend 90 million rand more on something that's just going to cost me 10 million? But if you really think about it, there is no value to that bridge. It's privacy, it's your reputation. Can you put a value into reputation? Reputation of cybersecurity is an opportunity. Innovation is an opportunity, it's not a risk, but it's an opportunity for us to integrate into business and to enable business to think like us. We literally have to think alike for us to implement the security strategy. And we always say there's a there's a business strategy, then follows the security strategy as the organization starts innovating. So for me, cyber risk, we mitigate, we manage, and we become innovative. There is no turning back. We are not on-prem anymore. Some of us are hybrid, some of us are fully on cloud. And the reason why we are fully on cloud, because we want to get closer to our customers, we want to innovate, we want to be effective. So how do you balance that? You need to integrate security into business and not move it aside and isolate. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Celia. I mean, like you said, fatigue is real.
Oh.
Things are moving fast and furious, but can we use this fear to actually drive us to be a lot more innovative in how we search for solutions? I don't know if there's anyone in the room with a question for Celia before she leaves stage.
Sure.
There's a question right at the back, if you could get a mic there. And yes, I mean, the room, I think has taken up the challenge. How do we increase the participation of women in cybersecurity? I think the balance would be much needed.
Thank you.
Yes, my name is Steve Mbego, tech writer DX5. You've just mentioned that people are the strongest link, but also we know that they are the weakest link. Should CISOs be held personally liable for breaches?
Okay, I can hear that. Should CISOs
be held personally liable for breaches when innovating?
I think that's a hot topic after the Uber incident, right? To say how much personal reliable are we? I mean, it has happened. It means that CISOs currently are exposed to personal liabilities that they could suffer. But the reason, if you really think about it, this condition has always been there for CEOs. And now that we call chief security officers,
yes,
why are we immune? But it's the how we do it, how we communicate. But at the same time, have the discussions with the organization in terms of, if I'm personally liable, what is my control and how can I navigate? So it's something that's new in the industry. I mean, we were just discussing it with other CISOs the other day to say, okay, how do we then manage the personal liabilities? Because I know if until the doctor helps me to get more money into my bank account, they're going to take everything I am, right? So I think you should have that discussion with your legal to assist you to navigate that.
And maybe something she's not also saying is also have the budget discussion. If your personal liability is going to go up, same way that it happens for the CEO, there's a chief right there. So maybe there should be parity in terms of the compensation as well. Last take, any last questions before we go to the next session, please?
And can I discuss the people, our strongest link? It's a mindset change.
Yes.
I think I say that because literally, if we say they are weakest link, we see them negatively. If we say they are strongest link and we educate them more, then it's a shift of mindset to say, actually, to be honest, half of the unknown, what technology cannot combat, we actually get it from our people. So actually, they are our strongest links. Will there be gaps? I agree. Will we have to close the gaps? I agree. But I think we should move from a mindset of always saying they're the weakest link.
Gotcha.
And make sure that we educate and we enable them to be our strongest links.
Thank you once again. Help me appreciate Celia.